Coming up right now on Marlborough This Week. As a way to honor Earth Day on Monday, Arthur Vigent dedicated one of the city's newest walking trails. The theme for the 2013 Marlborough Labor Day Parade was announced during a press conference this week. Also, Marlborough's Council on Aging held their annual Volunteer Appreciation Lunch at the Wayside Inn. These stories and more are coming up right now on Marlborough This Week. Welcome to Marlborough This Week. I'm Alicia Brandt. Last fall, one Eagle Scout took the lead and constructed a boardwalk system where a trail crossed a large wetland and bridged across the spillway to Lake Williams. This week, city officials thanked two more Scouts for their contributions to the beautification and accessibility to nature around Jericho Hill. On Earth Day, Mayor Arthur Vigent dedicated one of the city's newest and highest trails. Two Boy Scouts looking to gain Eagle status both did the projects for the Jericho Hill recreation area last fall.
We have an opportunity to take a beautiful place like this and recognize the work of two of our Eagle Scouts that have stepped up to the plate as they always do in the city of Marlborough. And this year we have the great pleasure of introducing David Coughlin and Kevin Dorsey for their work that they did here on the trails. Kevin actually, I guess, built the kiosk, and David was the one that actually designed the trail, and we have a map of it on our board, so come down here and take a walk.
Marlborough Scouts have really put a foot forward when it comes to helping the city of Marlborough beautify and conserve the land.
Well, I just want to thank the Scouts. They do all of the labor for our trails and our bridges and our kiosks, and they are the labor for most of our recreation facilities. So we're really indebted to them, and I can't thank you enough.
David Coughlin constructed a trail through the woods along a stream which meanders up Jericho Hill and ends with a view at the top. Coughlin enjoys completing small outdoor projects.
I've always been looking for things to do. Building birdhouses or something simple. But then I was out in the woods and I heard some kid before me, like other Eagle Scouts, have built trails. And so I was inspired to build a trail on Jericho, somewhere where I always hang out with my friends.
Building the trail was not an easy task and took the Scouts several weekends to complete.
First day was the Saturday right before Thanksgiving of last year. And every weekend after that, just every weekend, we just kept building trails, and whether it be doing brush or, I know the hardest part was the first 100 feet, and it was just the worst brush ever, and then you had to mow it all down, and that took a few weekends, and then we had to move some debris that was up there.
Completing all elements of this trail was a group effort.
I've built a kiosk that's going to hold the trail maps for anybody who wants to go up so they know where they're going, because right now there are none.
It is wonderful to see our Scouts give back to the community and create new opportunities for recreation and exercise, said Mayor Arthur Vigent. Plans for the 2013 Marlborough Labor Day Parade are underway, and as usual, Parade Director Ed Thurber is looking for everyone's help. Also, a press conference was held this week to announce the parade theme.
We're here today to announce the Labor Day Parade as we have every year. This year is going to be on September 2nd, kicking off at 12 o'clock up at the corner of Lincoln and Pleasant Street. And I'm standing here today with our Parade Director, Ed Thurber, and the committee. And they have chosen this year the Spirit of Marlborough, the theme of the parade, and we're going to hopefully base all the floats and the participants around the theme, and again, to this great spirit that we have in the city that makes Marlborough such a special place. And I think it's great that they chose that. And this year we're going to have plenty of floats. We're going to have plenty of entertainment. Ed, a couple of words?
Yes, I would really like to thank everybody that has given us such great support in the past years. And we're hoping very much that we will get the same support again this year. We're looking forward to putting on a great parade for everybody, and we're hoping to get a a large number of Marlborough folks out and surrounding area folks out to see the parade.
Thank you. Madam President?
Oh, thanks. Well, it's no surprise to anybody in the city that I love a party, so I was very delighted when the mayor asked me to be on the parade committee. We're very excited this year. Mr. Thurber has done a fantastic job for the past several years, of course, with the help of Mr. Wampum, and we hope that we can live up to the expectations of everyone else. Thanks.
So you can pick up applications to be part of our parade this year up in the mayor's office or down at the recreation department. They are online at our website. We'd love to have a lot of new people coming in and being part of our parade. We also need a lot of volunteers for that day, and I'm sure Ed will be looking for those as the time goes on. But parade day, we need volunteers at every street corner. So it's very important for everyone to come out and participate. If you're not going to be able to watch it this year, make sure you're part of it. So thank you very much, and hopefully we're going to have a great day on September 2nd in the spirit of Marlborough. Thank you.
Between honoring members of our local police department and rejecting the school choice program, the City Council and School Committee held two short but very important meetings. On Monday night, the City Council honored two members of the police department who played a hand in the investigation and massive manhunt following the Boston Marathon bombings last week.
And we hear about the actions of the police department down in Boston and Watertown and Homeland Security, the FBI. Everyone did such a fantastic job. And what we had the great pleasure of having is two officers that were called down to a regional SWAT team that they're a part of. And it's two of our police officers, and we have the opportunity to have our medical reserve corps that goes down to the marathon every year and participates, and they happen to be very, very close to the finish line this year, and luckily we didn't have any incidents with them. But at this time, I'd like to ask Detective Benina and Officer McKenzie to come up and be recognized for their efforts and the SWAT task force that was brought down there from Central Mass.
In other business, a proposed moratorium on medical marijuana treatment centers got no attention from members of the public during a public hearing. The proposed moratorium, which would prohibit treatment centers from opening until summer 2014, is being considered by the Legislative and Legal Affairs Committee, as well as the Planning Board. Councilors say the freeze will allow ample time to craft zoning regulations after the state of public health crafts their rules and regulations surrounding the new law allowing medical marijuana usage. The school committee voted to again reject the school choice program, but members said they wanted to give the idea a serious consideration next year. Joining the program as a receiving district would allow the district to accept students from outside the city. The sending district would pay a tuition fee for the student, and the receiving district can choose how many students it wants to accept and into which programs. School committee members have occasionally brought up the school choice as an option for defraying costs and bringing more revenue into the district, which this year was hit with skyrocketing special education costs. Interim Superintendent DeLotte recommended rejecting school choice and said that, except for Hudson, no districts similar to Marlborough have school choice. In honor of National Volunteer Appreciation Week, which runs from April 21st through the 27th, the Marlborough Senior Center held a volunteer appreciation luncheon to thank everyone for all they do. Without the help of volunteers, the Senior Center would not be able to function. Therefore, as a way to say thank you, the Council on Aging held a volunteer appreciation luncheon.
We have a volunteer lunch every year in April, and it's National Volunteer Week this week, just to honor the volunteers who give so much of their time to help at the Senior Center. We have 110 volunteers who do anything from visit elders in their homes to greet people at the desk, to sit at the desk as a volunteer receptionist. We have a fish program that transports elders to medical appointments. We have people that set up and clean up for parties and help out with bingo and a myriad of other positions. So we're grateful for the volunteers, and we couldn't really run the senior center without them.
One volunteer who has been with the Senior Center for 9 years volunteers on a daily basis. However, there is one activity that she enjoys above the rest.
We have a tree up on the stage right now, and we decorated it for, me and another lady decorated it for Patriots Day. And it will stay decorated with red, white, and blue for Memorial Day, 4th of July, and Labor Day. And then we'll decorate it for October, for Halloween.
The overall friendliness and sense of community that the Senior Center brings to volunteers is what keeps everyone coming back.
I like everything about the Senior Center. I mean, they're very appreciative. Whenever you need them for help or anything, they're right there for you.
Every year, the Senior Center honors one volunteer who truly dedicated their volunteer efforts to the betterment of the center. This year's Volunteer of the Year award went to James Confrey.
As I set up at the dais there, it was very humbling, very humbling. I mean, I just enjoy doing this. It's not looking for any recognition. It's just something that I think needs more input from the males of the city down there. And right now, there's not much going on for men, and so I'm trying to get things going. And with the new senior center, maybe we'll get more input from men.
The Senior Center appreciates every volunteer they have, and they will continue to honor their work with their annual luncheon. Marlborough Hospital also took advantage of Volunteer Appreciation Week by hosting a luncheon at the Courtyard by Marriott for their volunteers. Volunteers are a big part of the everyday functions at the Marlborough Hospital. Because of their importance, the hospital held a lunch to honor them.
The volunteers, they help with transporting patients. They also greet our patients and visitors at the front desk and our gift shop. We have a concierge in our ED department to help families understand what's going on in the ED. And we're here today because we're having our annual Volunteer Appreciation Luncheon. And obviously the volunteers donate a huge amount of time, and it's all from the heart. So this is one way that we can appreciate them, is to have a luncheon for them.
The volunteers are extremely valuable to the hospital because they do a lot of the jobs that the hospital would need to hire for.
They do so much work to keep each department running and functioning, so I don't know what we would do without them. They're extraordinarily good friends, they're great workers, and just very, very good to the hospital.
Volunteers at the hospital love to give back to their community. This year's Volunteer of the Year award went to one man who literally owes his life to Marlborough Hospital.
I've been with Marlborough Hospital now for about 2 years. The reason I volunteered is that I've been in Marlborough Hospital with a heart condition about 9 different times. And they were so good to me that when I retired, I just really wanted to give back. And it's probably one of the greatest things I've ever done in my life.
The faculty at Marlborough Hospital could not possibly thank all of the volunteers enough for all they do.
I get so touched when I come to this luncheon, as I have in the past, because these individuals give us their time. They ask for virtually nothing in return, and it makes such a difference. It allows us to be and create a warm environment for our patients. And they really are involved in so many different roles in the place, depending in large part on their needs and our needs. So it's just a wonderful way we can help make Marlborough a true community hospital.
Awards were given to each volunteer who has donated over 300 hours of their time to the hospital. Still to come on Marlborough this week, Tim and Debbie Bishop took advantage of their honeymoon to check one important item off their bucket list. But first, Alexandra Grace was able to catch up with Marlborough High's lacrosse team this week for another exciting game. We'll be right back after this break. Welcome back to Marlborough This Week. It has been quite the turnaround for Marlborough's lacrosse team. Alexandra Grace has the highlights from one exciting game that happened earlier this week.
Thank you, Alicia. On Tuesday afternoon here at Whitcomb Field, the Panthers boys lacrosse team hosted Brownfield, but the temperature was about 30 degrees lower, there was off and on mist, and the wind chill was just strong enough to keep some spectators inside their cars. But even in those conditions, the Panthers stayed aggressive and worked hard to capture another win. It was a low-scoring first half. Marlborough led Brownfield 3-1. Perhaps the poor weather conditions had something to do with the slow start.
What causes the slow start is that we come off not really knowing how hard we should be going when we should be going full out.
Panthers' new head coach, Malcolm Chase, spoke to his team about focusing on their individual roles.
I think they were worrying too much about what everybody was doing and not so much about what their responsibility was on the field. And once the kids focused on what they had to do individually, all the pieces started to come together.
And that's exactly what happened. The Panthers had a breakaway second half.
I guess what was going well is that we started communicating better and we got transition good. When we come out in the second half, we do realize we have to do the fundamentals, and that's the speech the coach gave to us. And we started doing that, and it turned out better in the second half.
So what you're saying is when you start listening to your coach, good things happen?
All the time. A lot of the times kids get into the head and think they know what the right thing to do is, but once you listen to the coach and understand what's really happening, it gets a lot better.
The Panthers dominated the second half and captured the win. The final score, 10-2. This win increases the Panthers' overall record to 5-2, and they continue their undefeated 4-0 home streak.
I'm really proud of the guys. We still got a good amount of season left and can kind of build, and hopefully make a run for the playoffs.
To give you an idea for how well this team is playing, they finished their last 2 seasons with a total of 5 wins combined. In 2010, they finished with a record of 7-13. So this is a great start for Marlborough lacrosse. If you want to see this talented team in action, their next home game is on Monday, April 29th against North Middlesex. Back to you, Alicia.
A newlywed couple put their legs to the test when they decided to travel over 3,500 miles on their bicycles for what they considered to be their honeymoon vacation. Born just 15 days apart, Marlborough residents Tim and Debbie Bishop were singles who'd never been married when they met online at a Christian website. They met in 2003, and after a long courtship, Tim and Debbie took the next step, and with that next step, chose to choose a non-traditional honeymoon.
So when we were up on Cadillac Mountain, he said, why don't we hike or bike across the United States? And so that was something that I wanted to do since, 1994. I'd put that on my bucket list. And so we just planned.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that was kind of neat. So within 10 weeks, we planned the wedding, and then we got married June 19th, and then we took off for Oregon in July. And then July 1st, and then we biked July 3rd through September 1st.
Shortly after their wedding, Tim and Debbie embarked on their cross-country journey with nearly no prior physical training.
We didn't know what to expect. And so when we got out there, it was a wake-up call in terms of what was going to be required. It was like a job. It became like a job, but it was a good job, because every single day was just new experiences, new places you'd never seen, and just beautiful countryside, and you're out there without anything to think about, like bills in the mail or conflicts with coworkers or you name it. You were out on the open road and enjoying life, enjoying our country, enjoying one another.
The couple set an ambitious pace in order to be finished with their tour in the time necessary, and despite their determination, sometimes they wondered if they would even make it.
You have problems with your behind when you bicycle, and as you get older, it gets worse. Now, when you tour, you're riding, we average 67 miles a day, so you're on that bicycle seat for hours on end every single day. And we both developed saddle sores, and Debbie had some a pretty severe one that put the brakes on our trip for 4 or 5 days.
Yeah.
So there was a point there where it was like, well, after there's no way we're going to make it across now. We won't have time. Will we be able to keep going? Became the question.
Their trip was an experience they will never forget.
Sometimes when we were, especially in the Midwest, I remember we'd be riding all day and we'd hardly see anyone. I mean, here at this huge country, and it was just the two of us on this road. It was a very beautiful experience a lot of the time. And a lot of times it was very difficult.
Bicycle touring has become a big part of Tim and Debbie's life. Following their cross-country tour, Tim and Debbie co-wrote a book titled Two Are Better.
We had a great amount of pictures, and when we came back, we had this picture frame my mom had given us for Christmas, and Tim had gotten a blood clot in March of 2011, and he was sitting on this couch and looking at the picture frame, and then he just started writing about all the memories, and I came home one day and he's like, I think I might write a book about this.
Tim and Debbie continue to go on bicycle tours, and they plan on biking from east to west upon Debbie's retirement. To gain insight on what it would take to bike cross-country or to learn more about Tim and Debbie Bishop's story, be sure to grab a copy of Two Are Better at openroadpress.com. Employment Options will be hosting their biggest fundraiser of the year next month. Their hope is to raise $30,000 and give attendees a night of laughter. Employment Options has announced that WEEI Sports Radio host Mikey Adams will be on the hot seat for the annual Celebrity Roast on Thursday, May 16th at the Best Western Royal Plaza Hotel.
We're very excited. In May we have another roast, and I think everyone has acknowledged the fact that these roasts are really fun. And we're honoring Mikey Adams, a local Marlborough guy who really has just been amazingly generous to us with Employment Options, and really going to have an incredible fun night. The goal for us is not only just a fundraiser, but also really to kind of build community spirit and really have people understand who Employment Options is and the spirit that we're really about. And so it's a great night, just a great night.
This roast will be Employment Options' third annual event, and it is their biggest fundraiser of the year. They have set their goals high. However, in the past, the roasts have been extremely beneficial to the Options Clubhouse.
Last time it actually went directly to our vans. As you all know, we had a very hard year the year before, so we were able to purchase a van and supplement another van, so that was fabulous. This year we actually want to have the ability to have a wellness coach here in the clubhouse and be able to really help people with not only mental health but physical health. So we really need to raise $30,000. That's our goal, and we think we can do it.
Tickets for the event are $50 each and can be purchased by calling Employment Options at 508-485-5051 or by visiting the website at employmentoptions.org/roast13. Over the past couple of years, Marlborough has been able to make its mark in Massachusetts and has shown extreme improvements in areas such as hospitality and industrial growth. Less than a year after the Marlborough Economic Development Corporation revived Marlborough's Restaurant Association, the city's hospitality industry is showing signs of growth.
We're pretty excited about where we look right now. We're certainly headed in the right direction to grow again in 2013, probably more like 4 or 5%. It's really a big opportunity for the city to continue to grow in both its corporate segments as well as its leisure segments.
With the addition of Quest Diagnostics, Boston Scientific, and TJX Corporation, Marlborough should see a significant increase in revenue in 2013.
Boston Scientific and Quest Diagnostic, as well as TJX, coming to Marlborough, we're going to see significant opportunity to grow in Marlborough from the hospitality industry. But more importantly, what are the residual growths from that, from the restaurant industry to the gas stations to the retail outlets? I think we're going to see significant opportunity to grow that business and grow the economy in Marlborough, which means more jobs, which also means more tax revenue, which is part of what MEDC's responsibilities are, is kind of to create a sustained tax base. So we're really excited about it.
Marlborough's hospitality industry is one of the largest in the state, and it is important to continue to bring travelers to our hotels.
Marlborough has probably the third or fourth largest number of hotel rooms in the state per capita, with about 1,500 hotel rooms, and really is a huge part of the economy, a significant part of the economy in Marlborough.
For residents, this means a higher tax levy on the commercial industry, which in turn will hopefully give a relief from a residential standpoint. That's all for this week. Thank you for watching Marlborough This Week. I'm Alicia Brandt. Please be sure to tune in next week for more in Marlborough news. See you then.